Good afternoon, champions. So I hope you had a great weekend. So welcome to our today's analysis. So I'm just going to head directly to the charts. So today I'm going to kickstart my analysis with GBPJPY. Then I think we'll be looking at Euro GBP also, and then we call it a day. So I like to start from the weekly time frame so that you can have a clear view how the markets are generally moving. So that's the general view of the market. So you can see that we had, let me take this. So you can see that we had a touch at this point, and then we had a move to the downside, a touch at that point, a move to the upside again, then we had that touch at that point, then the markets moved to the downside. So there is a shallow touch to the downside on that trend line, and then we had a move to the upside. We had a breakout at that position. Then we had a touch to this point of resistance at this point here. Then we had a move to the downside, broke this point of resistance here, headed to the downside and touched the trend line below at this point. Then we had a move to the upside. So you can see that we have been having, or we have been experiencing several touches to the downside. So you can see the first shallow touch, then you had the second touch here, the third touch at this position, then we had the fourth touch at this position, and then currently the markets are moving to the upside. So you can see that they have been moving, they've been having all these touches, but still respecting this trend line at this position here. So you can see the trend line that the markets have been respecting. So that is the view from the weekly time frame. So I'd like to move to a lower time frame, that is a daily time frame. So you can see that we had several touches on this trend line, still on the weekly time frame. So you can see that we had a touch to this upside here, then we had another touch at this point here, then currently we are experiencing a touch at that point, of which I'm expecting a breakout out of that position. So let me move to a daily time frame. So you can see the daily time frame after touching the trend line below. So it has been moving with a particular pattern. So you can see the clear view. So yeah, there's a clear view of how the markets have been moving with a clear pattern. So we have been having a bullish move, then a bearish move, a bullish move to the upside, making a touch on this trend line here, move to the downside. Also, this is a very good point of support. So at that position, then we had a move to the upside, touch this trend line above here for the second time, and then move to the downside and touch the trend line below them. So we kind of had two regions. If I may show you those two regions of which the market have been playing in between. So you have had those two regions of which the market have been playing in between. So we had the upper region and also the lower region. You can see that there was a breakout in this position here, making the markets to move and touch this trend line below here. And we have been having several movement, bullish, both bullish and bearish. But then we experienced we experienced this breakout. You can see the breakout at this position here, and also we had our second breakout out of this position here to the upside. So you can see that it broke to the upside, moved to this trend line here, can see there was one red candlestick, but then we had several green candlesticks to the upside, made that breakout to the upside. Then the markets have been moving in between those two trend line. If I may extend this, that you can be able to see what I'm trying to explain. So you can see that the markets have been moving in between these two trend line, that is from the daily time frame. And you can see that every time it touches this trend line above here, it always moves to the downside to touch the trend line below. This is the trend line, so if I may show you. So this is the trend line that I'm talking about. This is the trend line that I'm talking about. So whenever I touch the trend line above, it always comes down to touch this trend line here. So currently, if I was to place a trade from the daily time frame, I think place it below. So make sure that before you get into any trade, make sure that you have got a confirmation, a candlestick confirmation before getting into any trade. It helps in avoiding unnecessary losses. So I think this is a very good position of, okay, in this position you'll be risking a total amount of 1075 pips for a total reward of 4450 pips. I think it is worth the risk. Make sure that your risk to reward ratio is always 1 to a bigger number. So you can see our risk to reward ratio in this position is 4 is to 14 or 1 4. Yeah, which is good. It is worth the risk. So moving into the hourly time frame, is from the hourly time frame that I usually take most of my trade. You can see that we have got several green candlestick. This was the breakout to the upside that I was talking about. So you can see then after touching the trend line above, so currently it is on its way to move below. That's why you can see that um my position, this is a short position. You can see that my short position, I'm just waiting for a confirmation till the market moves up to this position. I'm currently not getting into that trade, so I'm waiting for a candlestick confirmation that for the market to confirm to me that they are surely moving to the downside, and I will be risking a total amount of 217 pips to get a total reward of 574 pips. I know most of you may ask me why I've placed my take profit at this position. Okay, this position has acted before as a, let me take this. So this position has acted before as a very good point of resistance, of which can turn up to be a very good point of support. Yeah, that is why I'm planning on taking my profit at that position, because the markets will move down to this position, and then since this initially it acted as a point of resistance, it may act as a point of support where we are going to experience some few consolidation before moving to the downside to touch this trend line above here. Then you're going to experience some small consolidation, then the markets to shoot up and further making some breakout to the upside. So that is why I've placed my take profit at that position, because it is my plan not to be found in any form of consolidation, because when markets are consolidating, it is usually a very risky place to hold any positions or any trades. So let me go back to the weekly time frame so that I can explain further what I'm trying to say when I'm talking about a breakout to the upside. So from from the weekly time frame, you can see the kind of breakout that I'm expecting. So let me zoom out so that you can have a clear view. So the markets are currently at this position here. So I'm expecting them to have a breakout in this position, and that breakout is going to confirm to me that the markets will are surely planning to move to the upside. Remember, we have been having several touches on this trend line below here. So this breakout is going to confirm that the markets are ready to move to the upside. So that is why I'm expecting a move. I'm expecting a move to or a breakout to the upside. Okay, that is it. That is all that the plans that I have for GBPJPY. Then I'd like to move to EURGBP. I think that's the last pair that we'll be looking at. So this is the weekly time frame. So you can see for EURGBP, the pattern is most of the time it is very clear. It is only that it usually moves at a very slow pace. But then we had a touch to this trend line above here, double touches to the downside, one touch to the upside at this position. Then you have double touches to the downside. So currently the market are moving in between this. We are having a point of resistance in the upper part and a point of support in the lower part. But then the market have been moving in between these two trend lines in this position here. So you can see that we had a touch at that position, then we had a move to the upside, had a touch at that position, then it started creating this. You can see this point of support here, a clear point of support. Then you had a move to the upside, touch to this trend line here, also acting as a point of resistance. Then we had some several touches at this position, a move to the upside, move to the downside, a move to the upside again, broke out, false confirmation, and no more. So the traders lost some amount at that position because it then acted as it had a kind of a support at that position. Then we had a move to the upside here. Then we had a retest on this point of resistance. Then we had move to the downside at this position, and then we had a move to the upside, had some small consolidation before the market shot to the upside. Then we have been experiencing some small consolidation at that point. Then we had a move to the downside, then a break out to the downside, touching the trend line below at this position. So that is a small summary of what is happening in at the weekly time frame for Euro GBP. So currently we are expecting the markets to be moving to the upside, and then when I'll be moving to the lower time frame, we'll be able to have a clear view of what I'm trying to say. So, but currently this is how the market. So I'm expecting the market from this position. I'm expecting the markets to further move, have a breakout first of all out of this position, a move, and then we are going to have that move up to that point of resistance. I'm expecting either a small consolidation up to that point, then a shoot to the upside for them to touch the trend line above, or the markets may move to this point here. Then we can just have one candlestick that will touch this point, and then the markets to have a small consolidation that will move to the downside. Remember, generally the markets are moving in a bullish trend. So let me just move to the daily time frame. So from the daily time frame, you can clearly see what I'm trying to explain. So we had this touch at this position here. Then the markets have been moving in a bullish trend, having some small bearish movement, but still. So we had several touches. Let me just move that. So we have been having several touches here on this trend line above. Then we had a breakout to the downside here. Then we had this touch to the downside here, this position. So after this touch, we are expecting the markets to move up. So we are currently at this position here. So we are expecting the markets to make all those breakouts for for the market to make a touch to this trend line here before moving to this point, then further moving to that point. So it will continue moving with a bullish bearish movement until it reaches to the top. So from the hourly time frame, okay, I can see we have got a clear view of what the markets are doing. Yeah. So I was waiting for that confirmation. So I had initially, I was initially on this trade. So I took my trade at this position here, place my stop loss just below the point of support, just to make sure that I was not taken out of the market. And you can see the market will always test their point of support, and you can see it tested the point of support at that position. Then it had a move to the upside. So, and then we had a retest again to this point of support. This is a very strong point of support, if I may show you. So let me do that here. So you can see this is a very strong point of support. So the markets, even though they made their first breakout, they still had to move back for a retest to that point of support before moving to the upside. So you can see, so there's a very clear move that the markets are ready to move to the upside. So I think immediately after this analysis, I'll be getting into that trade. I'm just waiting for the fourth candlestick to close, then I'll be in that trade. Yep. So I think that is all that I had. So currently I'm expecting the markets. I'll be placing my trade right above here. So let me do this. So I'll be placing my trade right above there. Then I'll be placing my stop loss just below, because I'm expecting the markets to, yeah, so I'm expecting, I just place my trade at that position. Always calculate your risk and the reward ratio. So at this point, I think I'll be risking 58 pips for a total reward of 363 pips. I think, yeah. I risk the ratio for risk to reward is 6:26. Yeah, I think I'm going to place my trade. It is worth the risk. It is worth the risk. So 58. Okay. For I know some of you have been asking me about the lot size to use. I think on the lot size, it depends on the account that you have. That one I'll leave it to you to decide. So if you have got a bigger account, then you can use a bigger lot size. Yeah. And that is all that I had for you for today. So have a blessed week, and may the pips